It's 3 words no one wants to hear. You have cancer. On November 8th, 2012, they forever changed the life of our next guest. Joining me now is Samia, a certified life coach who's also the author of the award-winning essay, My Tiny Pieces of Wood. Welcome back to the show, Lisa.
Thank you very much.
We've had you here before. You were talking about don't be afraid of 50.
That's correct.
And you're clearly not afraid of 50.
No.
But let's talk a little bit about the journey that you've been on the last year. You were diagnosed with cancer 2012.
That's correct. I was diagnosed in November of 2012. I had a mastectomy in December of 2012, and I was told at that time I was going to need a course of treatment, which included 2 more surgeries, chemotherapy, and radiation at that time.
But that didn't happen, did it?
It didn't happen.
And that is kind of the basis of the essay that you wrote.
That's correct.
Why don't we explain exactly what happened? I mean, you never had to go through that.
I never had to go through the chemotherapy. The story, and the reason I wrote the story, was to help other people. This story started after I had my mastectomy. My parents came to visit me over the winter, over the Christmas time. And right before they left, my mother came into my room, and she gave me what looked like a little piece of cellophane with some little pieces of wood in it. And she gave it to me, and she says, "Remember your faith."
You're like, what is this wood? What was the significance of the wood?
What was the significance of the wood? So she proceeded to tell me that when her and my father had visited the Holy Land in Turkey 10 years ago, they had come to an area the tour guide had taken them to, where they believe is where the mother of Jesus lived. And my mother's like, well, okay, if that's her house, there's a tree out here, that must be her tree. So she proceeded to scrape off little pieces of the tree.
One of the few people that probably have done that.
And she took it and she gave it to me.
And you carry it with you.
And I carry it with me. And it said, she told me to remember my faith. So
there it is.
Here it is here.
And you kept it with you
I
through your
kept it
whole
with me
process.
through my whole process, and I started to pray. I started to pray, and I started to pray for help, because I was actually really terrified of the process of the chemotherapy. You're already in pain from the mastectomy, and mentally and physically, so now we're going into the next phase of the chemotherapy. So my husband and I, middle of January, go to the cancer center. We're going to get ready for the chemo. I take my wood out. I'm in the parking lot, and I started to pray. We go into the center, and the oncologist says, "You know, Lisa, I think you're only going to need 4 treatments of chemotherapy."
So that was
not
half,
8. That
right
was
off the bat.
right off the bat. We were ecstatic. I thought our prayers had been answered. We were thrilled. Well,
it gets better.
It gets better. That was not the end of it. Following Tuesday, I'm driving home from work, my cell phone rings, it's my surgeon, and the surgeon is telling me, the nurse, the surgeon, we got these late test results, and we're going to send them to your oncologist, and this is good, he's really going to want to see this. And I said, okay, thinking it was that already the good news that it was going to be 4 instead of 8. Hooray. So the next day I'm home, it's Wednesday, the phone rings again, it's my oncologist. And he's explaining to me something about a numerical value with this last test result that came in.
You're probably like, get to the point.
Like, I don't understand. You know, if it's above a certain number, you need the chemotherapy. If it's below a certain number, you do not need the chemotherapy. And he's telling me my result was below. And I said, excuse me? And he says, we're canceling your chemotherapy.
Wow.
You're not going to need it. I asked him again, and he says, we never get to make these types of phone calls. I hung up the phone, and I knew right then and there, I believe my prayers had been answered.
Do you credit your prayers, the pieces of wood that your mom gave you? How do you think this all happened?
Through prayer, and through faith, and through hope. And that no matter what was going on during the course of the treatments and what I was going to face, I never, ever, ever gave up hope. And I just listened to my faith, and I prayed into my faith to give me guidance. I was really terrified, Teresa. I was really scared about this next process. And I just kept praying and praying and just, you know, saying, whatever it is, just help me face it.
Sure.
And then to find out that had been taken out of the equation, I knew my prayers had been answered. But then I said to myself, okay, I have this incredible gift of life. So what am I going to do with this? I made my promise that I would do whatever I could in my own power and capacity to help other people, to help other cancer patients, anyone going through trauma, to never, ever, ever give up hope, because even at the 11th hour,
just like you,
like me, something can change.
Sure, and that must be the reason why you decided to write the essay.
This is why I wrote the essay, to bring the message of hope to other people and to never, ever, ever give up hope, because you just never know what can happen.
And the essay earned you an award
Earned me
in the process.
In the process. It's an award-winning essay. It's part of an anthology of the Connecticut Authors and Publishers Association Writing Contest 2013-2014.
Well, I'm certain that our viewers are going to want to read this essay.
Yes,
so
please.
how do we find it?
You can go onto my website, lisasamia.com, and also amazon.com.
Very good. We'll look for it there. Lisa, I'm so
Thank
happy
you.
to hear the story.
Oh, thank you
for
so
sharing.
much. It was a pleasure to see you again. Thank you.